short, what happened this morning while I was at Garage, first of all, I was informed by our party agent who had been already thrown out of the polling station because voters, the so-called voters, were given 2-3 ballot papers, and he objected to that, and that's the reason for him to be sent out. So I entered the polling station while talking to the first assistant, a person who identified himself as the regional crime officer, RCO. Said that you are here. Yes. It's today election day. I didn't reply because he himself was witnessing that the election was going on. And he said that, follow us. So, no problem. So he called his car, and I was asked to go in that car and was taken to Zanzibar Police Headquarters at Ziwani. After spending some time, I was informed that the Deputy Director of Criminal Investigations, DDCI, was ready to meet me. I went to his office. He was surrounded by about 5 officials, and he just told me that as long as I was there, it was necessary to make a statement. I accepted, but I said that I cannot make any statement until my advocate is here. I said, that's the right. So again, we waited for the advocate. When the advocate came, we had to spend more than 45 minutes to be interviewed. So this guy came where I was with his officials and told me that his officials will ask me questions. That's all right, no problem. But I told them that because I have an option, according to the law, I have an option to make a statement or not to say anything. So I opted not to say anything. After that, we spent another time, another 2 hours, waiting for the official who is responsible for filling bond forms. And I was asked to bring in 2 sureties. So the 2 sureties were informed here, and they was required to bring with them ID and a letter from Sheha. But it was very difficult to get a letter from Sheha. So after discussing with the officials there, they said, all right, let them come with their IDs, but they should produce photocopy of the IDs. So the sureties came, they produced their IDs, and we spent another time waiting for somebody who was responsible for the file. When he came, we signed the bonds and was released on the condition that I report back to the regional crime officer at Madema on Monday at 10 o'clock. That is what transpired. What has been taking place since last night? Well, we are all aware that police have been firing tear gas in different parts of Unguja and Pemba, different parts of Unguja and Pemba. But also, they have been using live ammunition to shoot people. And the latest figures we have, reported deaths, 10. In Pemba, 9, and Unguja, 1. Those who have been injured, and some of them very seriously, there are 50, and some are in hospitals. And those who have been arrested, 57. So that is the election held in such a situation. But what is more surprising is that the Inspector General of Police, when asked, he claimed that he has no information that anyone has been killed in Zanzibar. And he doesn't know anything about these firing of tear gas canisters. He doesn't know anything, which I say he knows everything, because the command comes from him. Command comes from him. So that is Zanzibar. I was telling your colleagues here that in the year 2010, President Amani Ahmed Karume finished his term, and he handed power to Dr. Ali Mohammed Shein peacefully. Everybody was very happy in the country. Everybody was satisfied. But 10 years later, Dr. Ali Mohammed Shein, who took over power very, very peacefully, he is leaving power by killing innocent citizens of this country. So he has blood on his hands. That is his legacy. In his final week as president of Zanzibar, he kills 10 innocent lives. And maybe the list can increase, can be more. Yeah. But so far, 10 people. So he's living in the country with blood on his hands. But even the system candidate, all this is being done for his sake. That the state wants to announce him as the winner of Zanzibar elections 2020 under these conditions. So I was saying that also because he has accepted that, so he is starting his term. If he will be announced as the winner and become the president, he will begin his term on this footing, with blood also on his hands. So that is the situation. Thank you.
There was tear gas and live bullets, so I have two questions. Are you worried people are going to be too scared to come and vote tomorrow? And are you also worried there's going to be more violence tomorrow?
Well, I don't think that people will be scared, because Zanzibaris are crying for changes. They want changes. And they know that in bringing in changes, they have sacrificed. So I'm sure that Zanzibaris are prepared to sacrifice so as to bring in changes in the country. Well, I cannot predict what will happen tomorrow, but the behavior of police, it seems that they've been instructed to try to intimidate people. And if they continue to intimidate people, the reaction will be very bad. So anything can happen.
What are you, sorry, last question. What are you telling your supporters tonight, the night ahead of the elections?
Be prepared to go to the polling stations in large numbers.
Yes,
Marcos Kochanowski, Polish Association of Journalists. How is this election different from all the previous ones?
This election, CCM and the government, they are doing things which a civilized society could not expect openly. Openly. From the beginning of the registration of voters, more than 50,000 of our voters were not registered as voters, and they qualify to be registered. Secondly, they disqualified 20 candidates were disqualified with no reason at all. 8 for the Union Parliament and 12 for the Zanzibar House of Representatives. Third is this question of advanced voting. There's no need. We don't see the need for advanced voting. If in the mainland you have 29.1 million voters, and all of them may vote one day, tomorrow, 28th. We don't see the reason whereby the voters in Zanzibar is about 500,000. Why 2 days? So and as I said, we warned them. We warned them from the beginning. This is not acceptable. This will bring a problem, but they turned deaf ears to us. So, I mean, and what is more, we have Zanzibar Electoral Commission, which is most inefficient in our history. Yeah, most inefficient. Regular things they don't do. Really. They fail to do what they're supposed to do. In their obligations, they don't fulfill. So it is the worst electoral commission.
I think he also wanted to know, maybe for the people of Zanzibar, why is it different from the previous elections?
Well, for the people of Zanzibar, it is different because all of them, they are very, very hopeful that this time, come what may, our party will win the elections, and we shall form the government of national unity, headed by a president from the ACT Wazalendo. And most people have expectations that this time, with a new government led by a new party, things will change for the better.